Hi, I'm Jason Weaver, here to remind you there's at least one windowless van really full of candy.
And I'm Trevor McCarty. I'm here because his wasn't it. Before beginning today's review, we have a little warning about its graphic content. Jason?
Warning, this show contains absolutely no violence, no nudity, and is completely inoffensive to everyone, especially women. You should definitely show it to small, easily frightened children who have a tendency to wet their pants. In the dark, at night, with no one else around for miles. Therefore, the clips used from the episodes have not been edited to the best of my abilities to cater to the needs of those who have weak constitutions and or are a bunch of pussies that are disturbed by cartoon violence. I hate you all and hope you don't enjoy the review, which definitely doesn't contain any spoilers.
Happy Opposite Day!
When planning your next getaway, why not visit beautiful Kamakura, Japan? A place to feel the sand between your toes as waves are gently tugged back into the sea. Do you like to randomly hate people for absolutely no believable reason? You're right at home here. And did I mention the schizoid naked chicks practically beach themselves? Ah, Kamakura, Japan.
Don't ask about the homicides! Yeah!
Kota has come back to town after 8 years to start college and see if maybe he can't get himself a personality while he's at it. Things start out normal enough. He meets his cousin Yuka, who will be showing him the giant abandoned restaurant he gets all to himself, when out of nowhere they spot one of those beached anime chicks that sexy announcer talked about.
What the lame announcer failed to mention, however, is that the said fetish girl of the sand is a few unnecessary rape subplots short of a terrible show and can only say, "Mew." They dress her up, take her home, and figure out several reasons why this definitely isn't kidnapping and the police should have nothing to do with it. Although worry they should do, because a girl quite similar to the one they found telepathically escaped her confines at a research lab and de-blooded several people on her way out. Due to a massive head injury, she seems to have mentally regressed back to the terrible twos and is now only a threat to seashells. Kota himself was very fond of that particular seashell, as it was given him by his sister, who tragically died before she could give him a present that doesn't suck.
Kota's subsequent tantrum scares Niu away, so he sets out to find her, unaware that an armed commando unit is on its way to do his job for him. Led by the kind of psychopath that any PMC would be proud to hire, the soldiers find Niu, but as she isn't killing them, they can't be sure they have the right pink-haired horn girl. Head nutcase Bondo doesn't let himself get bogged down in needing proof, engages Niu in fighting, and accidentally wakes up the crazy side of her that remembers she has invisible death hands, before going back into piss-off feminist mode. Kota finds Niu at the same time the squad does, and after he is released from the hospital, he returns home to forgive his new pet girl.
Deciding that since an entire squad of trained soldiers isn't sufficient to capture Niu, or Lucy as the scientists call her, head science guy Kurama sends another horn girl named Nana after her because having one running around in public wasn't conspicuous enough. Nana is successful at finding Niu, but unsuccessful at not having her arms and legs excessively torn off, before Lucy turns back into Niu and has wacky romantics with Kota and Yuka that starts triggering long repressed memories of a shared emotionally contrived past for the latter two. Back in the days when an orphanage didn't need a visible staff, Lucy's horns made her the butt of many backpack milkings.
She finds comfort in feeding a stray puppy. However, because this is Elfen Lied, her bullies find out and go from dairy vandalization to straight up beating the poor thing to death with a fucking face. This fucking kid, without missing a step, goes from regular bullying to cold-blooded murder. Why? Beats a little puppy to death with a face. What kid does that? Hey Trevor, you have a dog, right?
Yeah, what?
Oh, no reason at all. Lucy kills them all and takes to death as her primary means of finding a place to sleep at night. But just as she can't seem to hate humans much more, she makes the acquaintance of a young Kota. Since basic decency is at such a premium in this town, Kota saying her horns are cool and actively spending time with her are all Lucy needs to fall madly in love with him. Within, like, a few days. Because that's how that works.
But young love is such that seeing Kota with a clingy young Yuka sends Lucy into a jealous supernatural rampage that takes out several pedestrians, Kota's little sister, and his dad. resulting in Coda being sent into shock for a full year and repressing the memories as his only means to cope with the whole thing. Typical woman, always gotta make a scene. Coda remembers the gory days and tries to find Lucy before she faces the ultimate handy girl. While Lucy and Nana are no match for her, Kurama, or should I say, her father, is. He takes her to go exploding, while Lucy tells Coda how really sorry she is for butchering his dad and sister right before his very eyes, wrenching the innocence from his fragile soul. And he says he's sorry that she got bullied. They hug, they kiss, Lucy goes to die, maybe from gunfire, and someone rings the doorbell at Coda's house the next day. Hopefully it was someone interesting, but that's where the show ends. Friggin' Germans.
As much as Lucy isn't a good character, it isn't entirely her fault. She spends most of her time in a reactive role, which is seriously detrimental considering all of the characters she has to react to are unnaturally awful or dense. This one lady sees her crying on the ground as a kid and assumes she's tripping on drugs. Maybe these drugs, maybe not.
I want those back.
Want what back?
Who the hell is Coda? Really, what more is there to him beyond not being a dick? He liked art as a kid. Does he still? What does he hate? He's there for college. What's he studying? What porn is he into? He's not so much a character as he is just there a lot of the time, being a human equivalent of that boring TV channel you don't change because you can't reach the remote. Okay, so, Elfen Lied. I don't really have a lot of good things to say about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole premise got me excited and looking forward to a great anime, but here's the catch. I couldn't stand this anime for shit.
Seriously, if I didn't have to watch this for Storytimes, I would stop after a few episodes and just leave it unfinished. That awesome concept was executed so poorly and terribly done. The ending, hated it. Sometimes an anime can have a bad ending and butcher the whole thing. Or maybe get away with being okay. But this was already butchered and a lost cause. And honestly, it just hurt it more. And the character development, what character development? I didn't see a damn character grow or change much at all. And you can't call New becoming Lucy becoming character development. It was just a crazy psychopathical bitchy side coming out and killing shit. Oh, it's gross. The plot was this crazy collection of scenes loaded into a shotgun and fired at a storyboard. And the director said, there, that's how we'll do it. It'll make no sense, but the fans will love it. The violence was cool, as it was to watch. And let's face it, we all love to watch violence. But it was completely unneeded and pointless. And lastly, I would love to know who casted the voice actors for the show. Because whoever did couldn't have picked the most similar sounding and annoying people to voice for Mayu and Nana. I was convinced it was the same person voicing two people. If I looked away from the screen, which I did, and they were both talking, I couldn't tell who was who. And Jason just laughed at me the whole entire time. But anyway.
To sum this all up,
Oh, it's gross.
Elfen Lied sucks, and if you don't want to waste 5 to 6 hours of your life, stay away from it.
Good music, looks nice sometimes. And now the bad part. Half the characters could die and the whole story is still there, which pretty much happened, so why were they there in the first place? Not to exercise restraint. Restraint's the one thing Elfen Lied seems to hate more than women, who, when they aren't being written as life's little punching bags, are melodramatic or incompetent, which, while not better, is at least different than being pure evil, which seems to be the default when character writing outside of the main cast. Why make the characters believable when it's easier to make them horrible for absolutely no reason? At the very least, make them consistent. If the Diclonius girls are predisposed to killing their parents, why do Nana and Mariko jump at the chance to do everything Kurama says because they think he's their dad, if Mariko didn't have a problem killing the woman she thought was her mother? Because this series is misogynistic, over-romanticized, and contrived up its own ass with victim mentality. Elfen Lied says that people are capable of terrible things, and I agree. After all, someone made Elfen Lied. Well, it's just about that time, kids. But before we go, let's go over what we learned today.
Those crazy women and their emotions can't be trusted outside of housework and are utterly lost without a man to be submissive to.
Define yourself strictly by what happened to you as a child.
Everyone not from your group of friends was just born evil.
The human body has gallons and gallons of blood in it.
Serial killers get a free pass if they're cute and naked enough.
Killing people who make you angry is okay, because they started it.
Casting actors who can properly emote or at least sound like a human being for lead roles isn't worth doing.
Only apologize to your love interest and completely ignore the other 20 families you ruined with your murdering.
Introduce characters and then kill them off before they can do any significant...
Ironic death! Bang! Bang!
love what I do!